It was raining that morning, the kind of relentless, cold rain that makes the world look gray and tired. Amelia Torres ran through the puddle-filled streets clutching a folder that contained everything she owned worth showing, a worn-out resume, a few certificates, and a trembling hope that today might change her life. Her shoes were soaked, her umbrella broken, and her heart racing. She had one last chance, an interview at a small marketing agency downtown. If she missed this, she'd be done. Rent was overdue, her fridge empty, and her mother's medical bills piling higher than her courage could climb. But destiny, strange and uninvited, had other plans that morning. As she rushed into the grand glass building she thought was Grayson Media, her eyes caught the wrong sign, Grayson Enterprises. The names were almost identical, the addresses just one street apart. She didn't notice. She only knew she was 15 minutes late and desperate. Breathless, she stumbled to the reception, trying to fix her hair, which looked like a rain-soaked bird's nest. The receptionist, in a crisp black suit, gave her a confused smile when she said she was there for the 10 a.m. interview. Without asking too many questions, the woman handed her a visitor badge and directed her to the 39th floor. If only Amelia had looked closer, she would have seen the plaque by the door, Private Executive Recruitment, by invitation only. Before we go further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the beauty of fate's mistakes, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps us tell more real, heart-touching stories that remind the world what humanity truly means. When the elevator doors opened, Amelia found herself in a world she had never seen before. Marble floors reflected soft golden light, abstract art lined the walls, and silence hummed like wealth itself. She swallowed hard and entered a sleek glass room where 3 people in formal suits sat around a long table. At the end of it was a man in his mid-30s, sharp, tall, composed, the kind of person whose presence filled a room before his words did. Ethan Grayson, billionaire CEO of Grayson Enterprises, was known for 2 things, building an empire from scratch and having zero tolerance for mistakes. His eyes, calm yet piercing, scanned Amelia from head to toe as she fidgeted nervously at the door. "Miss Torres," he said, glancing at the file the assistant handed him. She nodded quickly, her voice barely audible. "You may begin." Amelia wasn't sure what he meant, but she took it as a cue. She started speaking about her background, her dreams of working in marketing, and her eagerness to learn. Her voice trembled at first, but as she talked, her sincerity poured out. She spoke not from ambition but from hunger, the kind of hunger that comes when you've known struggle too long and seen too few doors open. Ethan listened silently, leaning back, his expression unreadable. He had been interviewing candidates all morning for a high-level executive assistant role, people with flawless credentials and rehearsed confidence. Yet here was a young woman with rain-soaked clothes, shaky hands, and no clue she wasn't supposed to be there, speaking from her soul about survival and purpose. By the time she finished, the room was quiet. The panel looked at each other, puzzled. One of them whispered something to Ethan, but he raised his hand slightly, signaling silence. "Miss Torres," he said finally, "do you know which position you're applying for?" Her face paled. "The marketing intern position, isn't it?" Ethan's lips curved into the faintest smile. "This is the interview for executive assistant to the CEO." The words hit her like ice water. Her mind blanked. Her breath caught in her throat. "Oh my God. I must have come to the wrong office. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to waste your time." She grabbed her folder and started to leave, mortified. But Ethan's voice stopped her mid-step. "Sit down." She froze. He leaned forward, studying her closely. "You made a mistake walking in here," he said, "but you've said more in 10 minutes than most people say in an hour of rehearsed answers." The room fell silent again. Amelia sat, unsure what to do, her heart pounding. Ethan continued, "Tell me, Miss Torres, if life keeps closing doors on you, why do you keep knocking?" She hesitated, then looked him straight in the eyes. Because I have no one to open them for me, sir. For the first time in years, Ethan felt something stir inside him, something he hadn't felt since before success had numbed his empathy. Her words, simple yet raw, cut through the walls he'd built around himself. After a long pause, he stood up and ended the session abruptly. "Thank you for your time," he said flatly. "You'll hear from us soon." Amelia walked out, feeling crushed. She didn't even have bus fare left and had no idea how she'd get home. Her mistake had cost her everything. She found a bench outside and sat there, tears mixing with the rain. She had done her best, and still, life laughed at her. 2 days later, when her phone rang with an unknown number, she didn't even plan to answer. But something inside made her pick up. "Miss Torres," said a calm voice, "this is Grayson Enterprises. Mr. Grayson would like you to join us as his temporary assistant for 1 month." Her hand shook. There must be a mistake. No mistake. He was impressed. When Amelia arrived at the company on her first day, she could hardly believe it. She wasn't sure what Ethan saw in her, but she was determined not to fail. The job was brutal, managing schedules, endless emails, late nights, but she threw herself into it completely. At first, Ethan kept his distance, testing her quietly. But soon he began noticing little things, how she stayed late to help others, how she refused to complain, and how she always found ways to make things better, even without resources. One night, when everyone had gone, he found her asleep at her desk, a half-eaten sandwich beside her. She had been organizing company files that weren't even her job. He quietly covered her with his jacket before leaving. Days turned into weeks. Amelia's energy changed the atmosphere of the entire office. Even the toughest executives softened when she was around. She reminded everyone of something they had forgotten, that kindness wasn't weakness, and humility wasn't failure. Then, one evening, Ethan asked her to accompany him to a charity gala. She thought she was just there to assist, but when he introduced her on stage as the most valuable addition to our company, she was speechless. He spoke to the audience. She walked into the wrong room, but maybe there are no wrong rooms, only unexpected beginnings. Sometimes we find the right people in the wrong places. The crowd applauded, but Amelia stood there, tears in her eyes, realizing that her mistake had led her exactly where she was meant to be. Over time, Ethan's admiration turned into something deeper. He began opening up to her, about his past, his fears, and how success had cost him connection. Amelia, in return, reminded him of life beyond numbers and deadlines. They became inseparable, though neither dared to name what they felt. Then came the day her 1-month contract was ending. Amelia packed her things quietly, ready to return to her uncertain world. Before leaving, she placed a thank you note on Ethan's desk. It read, "Thank you for believing in a mistake that turned into a miracle." But when she stepped into the elevator, Ethan appeared, breathless, holding the same letter. "Where are you going?" he asked. "My time's up," she said softly. He shook his head. "No, Amelia. Your time with us is just beginning." He handed her a new contract, permanent position, triple the pay, and one line handwritten at the bottom, "Because some chances are worth taking twice." Tears filled her eyes. That day, Amelia realized something profound. Sometimes life doesn't give us what we plan for, it gives us what we need when we least expect it. Her wrong turn had changed everything. She went from being invisible to being someone who mattered, not because of luck, but because she kept showing up even when it hurt. Months later, as they stood together overlooking the city skyline from the company rooftop, Ethan turned to her and said quietly, "You changed more than this company, Amelia. You changed me." And in that moment, under the same kind of rain that once symbolized her lowest day, Amelia smiled through tears, realizing that life had brought her full circle, from hopelessness to home. Sparkling Heart, if this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue sharing real, emotional stories that remind us all of the power of faith, mistakes, and second chances. Memo special request, comment below, I believe in second chances, if you believe even the wrong path can lead to the right destiny. Sometimes, walking into the wrong room is exactly how you find where you belong.